Welcome to another edition to Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Hey, everyone always asks, what's up with Motivational Sundays? Well, let me tell you. I got together with my friends. This show was originally created to highlight one of the more than 300 motivational quotes I had created for the contents of my books. And plus, drawn over the 40 years of studying human behavior, I always wondered, were these words that just lay there on the page or were there a conversation to be had? Um, we meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am joined by some wonderful, wonderful people. Let me introduce my co host to you. One new co host, Dr. Katrina Ferguson, better known to us as Dr. K Mac. PJ Scott. Oh, when this woman brings something, she brings something. And then we have our educator, one of our many educators over here. And I want to thank you for your gift of giving back to our children, as my grandmother would say, Miss Denise Lowe's. And she'll be dancing someplace soon because she's a performer, she's a poet, and everyone knows it. And then we have the voice from the islands, that smile that radiates when she's talking to you. She's a little hoarse today because she's not under the weather, but she showed up. That's the commitment our team has. And that's Miss Lois Campbell. And someone that always drops knowledge on top of knowledge on top of knowledge. Yeah, everyone thinks I'm talking about Dr. Stan, Dr. Breakthrough, but I'm going to introduce him too. I am talking about Miss Larnez Kinsey. All right. Hey, if you get a chance to read any of her articles, we'll post it up on RMK Productions on our social media. I would check her out because she's got some powerful stuff. And the voice of our show today, my good friend, my brother from another mother, Dr. Breakthrough or Dr. Stan Harris. And now it's time for us to get this show on the road. Thank you, everyone. And for the voice of our show, Dr. Stan, would you give us the quote? Let PJ kind of get set up and let our listeners get all comfortable, just getting out of bed, preparing for church. But, here they are, Motivational Sundays. Dr. Stan, quote for the day.
All righty. The quote for today is: in each life, there comes at least one moment which, if recognized and seized, transforms the course of that life forever.
All right, all right, all right. PJ, you sent this quote by Mr. Ralph Blum. How's this quote land on you?
Oh my goodness. This year, this kept coming to mind, and when you asked for a quote, it's the first thing I thought of, because it seems to me as if all of us have had a breakthrough and transformation, if not many of them in our lives. And this year I went through one. That's why I brought that quote to you.
All right. Do you mind sharing with us what you went through in order to why this quote is supporting the emotional and the physical connection to you and the universe?
So when you're going through something like this, you get signs. And it might be a setback, it might be a heartbreak, it can be anything, good, bad, and ugly. But at the end, you get some insight and you get what I call spirit confirmation. And one day I'll tell you all the story of when I was a little kid and I learned about the Holy Ghost. I think that's spirit. And the spirit led me here. And it started with last year, a little voice said, go back to acting. It's been 30 years. And I just did it for fun. But that's when I met Naheem. And through Naheem, I met Otis and Chris and ended up here. So that to me is spirit confirmation that I'm on my path. I didn't ask for any of this. It just came to me. But it came through a period of pain, anguish. Yeah, I've got the tissues ready. I always have the tissues ready when I know Larnez is online. So here I am, and I still don't know why, but I really believe that why is never a useful question. You just say thank you, no matter what happens, good or bad.
And that's why you seize the moment. That's why, in recognition of the reason why you're here, I'm a firm believer that God places each and every last one of us into a certain situation in order to ask a question that we have not addressed ourselves. And then once you're there, like and said, you're not where you want to be right now, but you're where you need to be right now, preparing to get to where you want to be. And so right now, I hope that this space for you is a safe place, is a place that you continue to come back, open up, share, and enjoy, laugh, smile. And like I said, we all carry a box of tissues on this show. We've been through it all. All right. So, Dr. PJ, thank you for bringing the quote. I'm going to see if I toss it over to the islands, Miss Lois Campbell. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know this is the commitment that this team has. No matter what they're going through, she's not feeling well, but she showed up to support her people, her family, her brothers and her sisters. All right. Lois Campbell. All right. All right. If you don't
Thank you.
mind,
Thank
how
you,
does this
Kevin.
quote
Thank you so
line?
much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. So I'm just gonna repeat the quote, which basically says everything that it needs to say. In each life, there comes at least one moment which, if recognized and seized, transform the course of that life forever. And like PJ says, it could be negative or positive. It's just a matter of grasping what it is and running with it. We want to really stick to the positive aspect of that, seizing the moment and go with it. But sometimes we have to have downfalls, we have to have mistakes, we have to have um, people in our lives, in our circle that are not with us. But the goal is focus on your goal and just seize the moment with that and keep your focus forward. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, team.
Thank you. And many times, what always stops us? All right. What stops us from taking that next step? What stops us from opening that door? All right. It's not the fact that we're not present. Sometimes we're afraid to see what comes next. Sometimes we're so afraid of what we want to say versus what we actually say. And I always say this, when you're ever in doubt, put your hand over your heart, look up. Let your faith guide you. All right. Let your faith guide you because God will never let you down. All right. He will never let you down. So, Lois, I appreciate that quote. Again, PJ, you see the magic that you bring into the show today. All right. Okay. Hey, always understand the power of your words. And we're talking about another wordsmith on our show, Miss Denise Lopes, our educator over there. We're going to see how this quote lands on you.
Good morning. I'm like Lewis right now, recovering from a cold. I'm a teacher, so I work with second graders, so germs all over the place. For me, this quote brings me back because I came to America when I was 14, learning English. English was my fourth language. And I said one word wrong, and everybody made fun of me, so I was mute for a whole year. So I finished high school, I went to college, and I was still taking ESL. And my ESL teacher was like, "You don't belong here. You know enough English to take the regular English." I was so afraid to take because I was afraid to fail because people had made fun of me. So I internalized that. So he said, "No, you take in the regular English. You don't belong to this program because you know what you're doing." So that was the changed my life forever. And I'm so grateful for him because like, I'm even going to cry right now because after that, I was unstoppable. I'm like, I could do this. I could graduate from college and be someone. So that one moment would just change everything. And if I didn't take it at that time, if I still had the fear, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Thank you for the quote. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I'm a crybaby, so everybody knows that.
Hey, you know something? There's nothing wrong with shedding tears. All right. That's the connection between this world and your soul. All right. And what you let. If you can't express yourself through your tears, you're a prisoner in in your own life. Let it out, let it flow. Let me tell you when you talk about seizing the moments, and I'm going to bring up something that everyone can connect to. One of the most famous speeches that we ever heard is I Have a Dream by Dr. Martin Luther King. We all remember that moment when life changed for everyone, no matter black, brown, no matter what your religious preferences or your preferences as far as gender identity or whatever. He had a dream. But did you know, all right, that speech was impromptu because he had missed his ride. And when you talk about seizing the moment and being caught in that moment, the message that he gave all of us, without that message, this quote, the conversation we're having, all right, would have been words from a page. And we may not ever have that famous quote. So I'm going to ask everyone right now, all right? And matter of fact, I'm going to move everyone to first class. I'm going to ask you to pull up your tray tables, secure your seatbelt, hold the hand of someone that's next to you. I don't care if it's a loved one or total stranger. All right. Because this quote, all right, we're going to see how it lands on what I call her K-Mac. Okay. She's new to the show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Karina Ferguson, Dr. Karina
Katrina
Ferguson.
Ferguson.
Katrina,
Good
I don't know.
morning. Good morning. PJ, I just want you to know my heart really goes out to you. I'm really sensing and feeling whatever it is that you're experiencing. And I just want you to know you're not alone, right? You're not alone. And this goes for anyone who's watching. You, by just virtue of choosing to be here this morning, was your belief coming to surface that you know there's another way, that you know that you'll make it through, that you know that everything you need is inside you for this moment in time. So we support you, sis. We stand with you. And I just believe greater things are coming. Amen. Amen. In life, in each life, there comes at least one moment which, if recognized and seized, transforms the course of that life forever. With all due respect to Dr. Blum or Ralph Blum, whatever his title might be, I want to take it to another level because it's not just one time that happens. It's literally the choices that we're making in every moment of every day that are either adding to or subtracting to our purpose and our destiny, whatever it is that God has created you to be. And when I was going through a divorce, and I remember my good friend asking me, "How are you doing? How are you doing? You know, you got the kids, you got the bills, you got all these things." And I said to him, I said, "I mean, what do you mean, how am I doing? I don't have a choice. I have to do fine. I have to be okay." And he stopped me in my tracks and he said, "Don't you ever say that again." He said, "Because when you remove your own power of choice, then you open up the door for bitterness to take root, for unforgiveness to come in." He said, "You always have a choice. You don't have to do any of the things that you're doing. You don't have to participate. You don't have to take care of your kids. You don't have to pay your bills. You don't have to be a responsible person. You always have a choice." And I wrote a book. It's called Celebrate the Power in Your Right to Choose. Don't order it. It was my first one. Don't order it. Do not order it. Don't write it down. None of that. But just know that take your power back. You don't have to endure. You're choosing to endure. You don't have to put up with it. You're choosing to put up with it. You can change it at any moment and any time. And often that power of choice, we have to remember, Dr. Stan, this one's for you, is Christ's hand orchestrating inspiration, change, and elevation. That's what choice is. Is Christ's hand orchestrating inspiration, change, and elevation in your life. So in the process, just recognize every single moment you can create habits of intention, courage, and excellence as you become and live and walk in your God-breathed destiny. That's what I heard.
All right, all right. A little bit of a ripple effect, if I may say. You see how that comes through? You know, Bruce Lee said everything is like water, the ripples that come through and whatever. This is what happens, Dr. Stan. All right. When it's just only me and you sitting up all these queens. We're not thorns. We're dirt right now because this is on fire right now. And Dr. Stan, if you don't mind, for our listeners that are sitting back and going, wow. All right. Will you deliver the quote before I introduce Larnez Kinsey and get her take on this?
Yes, in each life, there comes at least one moment which, if recognized and seized, transforms the course of that life forever.
All right. It's amazing that that quote talks about life. life is precious. And I want to tell everyone that it is precious and it's fleeting. We are all living for the moment. And recently, I know around the world, someone is living in a space right now when they're asking more questions and getting no answers because they've lost someone. And I want to say this, uh, K-Mac, your Uncle Dwight, you just lost him, and I don't know what to say. And, 24 hours later, I get a call from family and whatever. So I'm saying this to everyone today, today, and do it every day. All right. Put your arms around somebody. All right. Seize that moment and let them know that they're loved and allow them to love you. Let their heart touch your heart. All right. You don't need to say a word. Just hug someone. All right. Because I know when I go out in public, Larnez, she knows me. She knows my weaknesses. She protects me from that. So I'm going to I'm putting my arm around each and every last one of you today. All right. And let you know I'm an HR nightmare because I'm going to say I love you all. All right. And it's okay. I love you all. All right. Larnez, how's this quote land on you?
Grand rising to everyone. To me, this quote is talking about that pivotal point, that spiritual notification that pops up like, are you ready to stop playing and step into your purpose? Most people miss it because they're waiting for that moment to show up in a tuxedo with Beyonce background vocals and a spotlight from the ancestors. But that life-changing moment shows up dressed like a regular Tuesday. It might look like the job loss you thought would break you, the opportunity you were scared to say yes to, that invitation you almost ignored, that person who told you the truth you just didn't want to hear, that idea that keeps tapping you on the shoulder like, sis, I'm still here. The blessing ain't always glamorous. Sometimes the universe delivers your breakthrough in sweatpants. What this quote is really saying is there will be at least one moment, one crossroads, and that could shift your whole trajectory. But it only works if you recognize it and you claim it, not think about it, not journal about it forever, not ask 14 people for permission. Seize it, because transformation is not passive. It's intentional. It's active. It requires you to choose yourself even when it's inconvenient. And when you grab that moment, when you say, yup, this is it, this is that doorway, this is that chapter turn, this is the call I'm answering, your life just doesn't just change. It levels up because destiny doesn't need you to be perfect. Destiny just needs you to be awake. And that's how this hit me.
All right. And thank you for the many spoken words, and thank you for all that you do. I'm very grateful. My cup is running over at this very moment. I know what it's like to walk around through life, and you've got that little crack um, in your coffee cup, and you're leaking everywhere, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and helps you patch it up and whatever. Then you get a chance to, I always think about that breakthrough, that aha moment. But we're at that point of the show right now. All right. Stan, Dr. Stan, it's just me and you right now. I want to ask you to deliver the quote and give your interpretation or perspective based on this quote. And I want to my listeners, play this version of Motivational Sundays over and over and over again and sit with a friend because whatever questions you may have between all of us, there's an answer for you. Seize that moment. Dr. Stan.
In each life, there comes at least one moment which, if recognized and seized, transforms the course of that life forever. And that moment for me was February 14th, 1976, 6:30 at night, when some folks knocked on my door and they said, can we ask you a question? They said, we're inviting people to church. But can we ask you a question? I said, sure. And they said, if you died today, do you know for sure you'd go to heaven? I was like, oh no. I said, I don't. And they didn't know I've been thinking about dying all week long. And I said, well, do you know where you would go if you were to die? And they said, well, yes, heaven. And I said, can you show me? They said, sure. And they looked at each other like, is this for real? So make a long story short, they came and showed me that day, that although I was a sinner, that God sent his own son to die and he was buried and rose again to pay for my sins and to make it where I could go to heaven. And when they said something to me like Romans 5:8, but God commended his love toward us, and that while we're yet sinners, Christ died for us. And they said, if you'd have been the only person in the world, he'd have sent his own son just to die for you. And I remember saying, you don't mean that. My dad left when I was 3, never called, never came by, been sexually abused and physically abused and every kind of abuse there is, tried to take my own life on a couple occasions. I was like, you trying to tell me God cares? And they said, yes. And I had such a hard shell. I've been hurt so much in life. So I had this hard shell and that cracked, it broke it forever. And that day I received the Lord as my Savior and I got fired up. And I said, man, the whole world needs to know about this. And so I've been blessed to speak and teach this message in all 50 states and 28 countries. And that, again, February 14th, 1976, it's coming up on almost 50 years ago. Amazing. But real quick, got to throw on that second day is when my baby girl was born. Dr. Christina Harris. But I couldn't believe, like, I was like, first of all, I'm sitting here and this little life comes out. I'm like, whoa, like I'm responsible for her for the rest of my life. And responsibility hit me like it never hit me before. The word responsibility, if you break it down, it simply means respond with ability. But that's the day, I think, two things. One, I called my mom. I said, Mom, can't believe you went through this with me. So my appreciation for my mom went way, way, way up. And then obviously, again, realizing this precious little one is now entrusted into my care. That responsibility made me 10 times more responsible, and it changed my life forever. So I always tell people in my book, Kingdompreneur, about having the ABC, and that is activating your anointed, blessed, breakthrough Christ consciousness. So as our sister said, don't just recognize it, you got to seize it. And those are a couple moments that changed my life forever.
Right.
Less than 20 minutes, man. Less than 20 minutes.
Man, you know something, Dr. Stan, I can listen to you all day. Um, as a professional, as a friend, and as a human being, I make light of the time only because people say, "Oh, podcast is only supposed to be so long." When you got something to say, people need to sit back and listen because we're all trying to be heard, but we never listen. And that's why when you know, I've always been told God will send you signs. He says, when you got your back against the door and the walls are, coming down on you and everything's pressing you and people that you've trusted have broken your heart, let you down or whatever, and you drop to your knees and you ask God, to send me a sign, send me a message to guide me. And then you turn around and you say, I'm giving my all in all to you and everything I do moving forward, I do for you. All right. This quote talks about transformation. All right. I know what it feels like. This quote reminds me of a life that's bigger than transformation. Transformation rarely announces itself, it just happens. Greatness appears disguised as inconvenience, uncertainty, or risk. Your moment may not always be perfect. You don't need to explain it or justify it to others, but it's necessary. When your mind is fully present and you recognize the moment, I say seize it. Don't question it because it may not always be right. May not always offer you the right time, the right situation. All right. But change is hard. We all know that. All right. We have two things in common in life: time. And the second is actually three things: chance and choice. The question is for you not to ignore it, not to for you to be surprised by it, but to recognize it and to seize it. My grandfather told me there are five things that you can do that will change your life. First thing he says, discuss. And what is that? Says when you get to a point in your life that you're tired of being kicked around, abused, or whatever, misused, or giving your heart to someone that's not receiving it, he says, you stop and you change. The second is a decision. When the change comes in, you make a decision, either stand there and take it or to move on. And then what you got to do is be honest to yourself. Speak out the words into the voice, into the world. Share it with someone that you trust. What do you desire the most? All right. Once you write down your desires, then you have to put in the work. My grandfather said there's no virtue where there's not presence of sweat, discipline, breaking those bricks, those hours. How many times, Dr. Stan, did you attempt to break a brick with your bare hands and you failed? Or did you really fail? Or did you find a way in order to strike that brick at the point that it will give you what you want? That's what Dr. Breakthrough is all about. And then when you get to the point, the very last thing my grandfather said, he says, understand resolve, let it go. What happened to you yesterday is not happening to you today. The person you let go yesterday has no effect on the day that you have today if you choose to move on. We all have gone through some type of struggle, some hard times. We all have. None of us are original to our own story. The only difference that makes us original is the cast of characters and locations and the actions that follow, whatever decision you make. So what I want to do right now is to our listeners, to my co-hosts, I want to say thank you. But I want you to think. Education is not designed to make you comfortable. All right. Life is not designed to make you comfortable. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to think. So I want to thank everyone, all right, for sharing the space. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like what you heard, visit us on our YouTube page. You can find us and you can even get a link to the show, RMK Productions and Network. And I want to thank my motivational family, all wonderful co-hosts that join me on this show. I want to thank my new co-host, K-Mac. All right, Dr. K-Mac, that's what we're going to call her. Dr. Stan, thank you for that connection. I owe you more than you ever will know. All right, I'll tell you one day. PJ, thank you for bringing such a wonderful quote. All right. My co-host Denise, I'm going to say thank you because you're in our education field. You don't get enough thank yous. And I know those little kids in the second, third grade that one they're going to turn around and they're going to become something wonderful. They're going to say if it had not been for people like Denise Lopes, all right, I would not be who I am because we've all had what we call mentor coaches, whatever, and they started out as teachers. That's God's gift, preparing you for what's yet to come. And Lois, with your heart of gold, I thank you for showing up, even though I know you didn't feel good, giving us that $1 million smile. And I'm going to say this to every single person in the world. While you have all 32 teeth, keep smiling, because that's what Lois tells you. Look at that smile, all 32 teeth. You're going to lose it one day. Trust me, I know. All right. And Larnez, thank you for all that you do for me, not only professionally, but personally, and what you bring to the show. And Dr. Breakthrough, thank you for your friendship, your kindness, and my connection to my faith and the stories that you tell. Thank you for every breakthrough moment that you've ever given us. And thank you for being part of this show. And to our listeners, all I can do is say thank you. Until next time. My grandfather always said, when you get to a point in life that you can help someone else out, he said, it's your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that, we say what?
Fade to black.
But make sure you come back.